Did you know that everyday kitchen items could be silently harming your health, especially after 65? It's shocking, but many seniors unknowingly use things in their kitchens that could lead to serious health risks. From toxic cookware to hidden bacteria, these items might be putting your well-being at risk without you even realizing it. Stay with us because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly which kitchen essentials to get rid of and what to replace them with to protect your health. Trust me, you won't want to miss this. Meet Joan. She's a vibrant 70-year-old who's always loved spending time in the kitchen, creating delicious meals for her family. But recently, Joan started feeling more tired than usual, and she couldn't shake that constant feeling of being unwell. She thought it was just part of aging, but when her symptoms worsened, she decided to see her doctor. What she didn't expect to hear was that some of her kitchen items were actually contributing to her health problems. Joan's story isn't unique. Many seniors unknowingly use dangerous items in their kitchens, thinking they're harmless. Things like old cookware, plastic containers, and even the dish sponges we often overlook can be silently affecting our health. The problem is, when you've used these items for years, it's hard to imagine that something so familiar could actually be harmful. But the truth is, as we age, our bodies become more sensitive to the chemicals and bacteria lurking in our everyday kitchen tools. If you're ready to make healthier choices and improve your kitchen habits, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and stay tuned for more life-changing tips that can help you live your best life after 65. Let's dive in. Number 1. Non-stick cookware. Non-stick cookware, it's a staple in many kitchens, including Joan's. It's easy to use, requires less oil, and is incredibly convenient. But did you know that those non-stick surfaces, especially the ones made with Teflon, can actually be harmful to your health? When heated, non-stick cookware releases toxic chemicals like perfluorooctanoic acid, PFOA, and polytetrafluoroethylene, PTFE. These chemicals can be harmful if inhaled or ingested, leading to potential long-term health issues, especially for seniors whose bodies may be more sensitive to these substances. Here's the scary part. When you use your non-stick pans over high heat or for extended periods, the coating can start to break down. This process releases harmful fumes that can cause headaches, dizziness, and even long-term respiratory problems. In fact, some studies have even linked PFOA to cancer and liver damage. For seniors, these risks are even more serious because the immune system is often not as strong as it once was. So while it may seem like a harmless pan, it could be causing more damage than you realize. Joan learned this the hard way. She was using her favorite non-stick frying pan to make her famous pancakes when she started noticing more headaches and difficulty breathing. It wasn't until her doctor mentioned the dangers of Teflon that she put the pieces together. Joan replaced her old cookware with safer alternatives, and almost immediately she felt better. No more headaches, no more breathing problems, just the joy of cooking without the worry of harmful chemicals. So, what's the solution? The good news is that there are excellent alternatives to non-stick cookware that are just as effective, if not more so. Ceramic cookware is a fantastic option. It's non-toxic, doesn't release harmful chemicals, and is super easy to clean. Plus, it comes in a variety of styles, from frying pans to pots and Dutch ovens, so you can still cook your favorite dishes without compromising your health. Ceramic pans also provide even heat distribution, which means your food will cook more evenly. Another great option is cast iron cookware. Cast iron has been around for centuries, and for good reason. It's incredibly durable, holds heat well, and can last for generations if properly cared for. It's also naturally non-stick once seasoned, which means you won't have to worry about harmful chemicals. Plus, it's versatile. You can use it on the stovetop, in the oven, or even over a campfire. The only downside is that cast iron can be a bit heavy, but many people find it adds to the experience of cooking with it. If you're ready to make the switch, you don't have to do it all at once. Start by replacing one piece of non-stick cookware, like a frying pan or a small pot. As you get used to using ceramic or cast iron, you'll probably find you don't even miss the non-stick pans anymore. And the best part? You'll be protecting your health in the long run. We know it's not always easy to part with old kitchen favourites, especially when they've served you well for years. But remember, your health is the most important thing, and making small changes today can lead to big improvements tomorrow. Joan is living proof that switching to safer cookware can make a difference, and it could do the same for you. Have you ever had health issues related to your cookware? Maybe you've experienced headaches or breathing problems after using non-stick pans? Let us know in the comments below, and feel free to share your own tips for cooking safely in the kitchen. Number 2. Sponges and dish towels. Sponges and dish towels. They're probably the most used items in your kitchen, right? You grab them every time you need to clean up, wipe down surfaces or dry your dishes. But here's the thing. While they seem like harmless everyday items, they could actually be a breeding ground for harmful bacteria, especially when they get damp and start to smell. Think about it. Sponges are constantly in contact with food residue, grease and water. The very things that create the perfect environment for bacteria to grow. Even though we rinse them out after every use, sponges can still harbour germs that can easily transfer to your countertops, cutting boards and dishes. In fact, studies have shown that kitchen sponges can contain millions of bacteria, including E. coli and Salmonella, which can lead to foodborne illnesses. For seniors whose immune systems may not be as strong, these bacteria pose an even greater risk. Joan had no idea that her old, trusty kitchen sponge could be putting her health at risk. She'd been using it for months, only tossing it in the dishwasher every now and then. But after a visit to her doctor for some unexplained digestive issues, Joan learned that bacteria from her sponge could have been part of the problem. The situation was more serious than she realised, and it was time for a change. So, what can you do to keep your kitchen safe and clean? First, let's talk about sponges. You should replace your kitchen sponge regularly, at least once a week, and more often if it starts to smell. Once a sponge starts to wear down or shows signs of fraying, it's time to throw it out. It's not worth keeping around, no matter how much you paid for it. But it doesn't stop there. If you want to take your kitchen hygiene to the next level, consider switching to microfiber cloths. Microfiber cloths are a game changer. They're much easier to sanitize, and they don't hold on to bacteria like sponges do. Unlike sponges, microfiber cloths can be tossed in the laundry or even disinfected in the microwave, making them a much safer and more hygienic option. Plus, they're reusable, which means you're not constantly buying replacements, making them more environmentally friendly too. Joan made the switch to microfiber cloths and noticed an immediate difference. Not only did her kitchen feel cleaner, but she also stopped having the digestive issues that were troubling her. It was one simple change that made her feel a lot better, and now she never goes back to sponges. The best part? Microfiber cloths are incredibly versatile. You can use them to wipe down counters, dry dishes, clean up spills, and even dust. They come in a variety of sizes, so you can choose one that works best for your cleaning needs. And if you want to go the extra mile, look for ones with antibacterial properties for an added layer of protection. We know that changing up your cleaning routine can feel like a hassle, but the truth is, it's a small change that can have a big impact on your health. Whether you stick with sponges or make the switch to microfiber, just remember that keeping your kitchen clean and germ-free is key to staying healthy as you age. Have you ever had any issues with sponges or dish towels in your kitchen? Maybe you've noticed a smell, or you've had to deal with bacteria on your surfaces. We'd love to hear your experience in the comments. Plastic food containers, they're a kitchen essential, right? We use them to store leftovers, meal prep and organize our food. But here's the problem. If you're using old plastic containers, especially ones that are scratched or damaged, you could be exposing yourself to harmful chemicals like BPA or bisphenol A. BPA is a chemical found in many plastic containers, and it can leach into your food when the plastic gets scratched, heated or used over time. Joan discovered this the hard way. She had been using the same plastic containers for years to store her leftovers, but after a routine health checkup, she learned that BPA could be affecting her health. It wasn't until her doctor mentioned the risks of BPA exposure that Joan realized her trusted plastic containers might be doing more harm than good. The thing is, BPA has been linked to a variety of health issues, from hormone imbalances to increased risks of heart disease and certain cancers. As we age, our bodies become more vulnerable to these chemicals, so using old, scratched plastic containers could be putting us at even greater risk. Plus, when plastic containers are scratched, they not only leach chemicals but also become harder to clean, increasing the chances of bacteria building up over time. So what can you do to protect yourself? The best solution is simple. Replace your old plastic containers with safer alternatives. Glass containers are an excellent choice. They don't contain BPA, they're more durable, and they're microwave and dishwasher safe. Plus, glass is non-porous, so it doesn't absorb food odors or stains, keeping your food fresh and your containers easy to clean. Stainless steel containers are another great option, especially if you're looking for something more lightweight and durable. They're perfect for storing dry foods or taking meals on the go. The added bonus is that they're incredibly long-lasting, which makes them a great investment for your kitchen. Joan made the switch to glass containers, and the difference was immediate. Not only did she feel better knowing she wasn't exposing herself to harmful chemicals, but her food stayed fresher longer, and she didn't have to worry about scratches or stains. Have you noticed that your old plastic containers are starting to show signs of wear? If so, it might be time to make the switch to safer alternatives. It's a small change that can have a big impact on your health, and it's never too late to start. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you ever been concerned about BPA in your kitchen? Let us know in the comments. Aluminum foil. It's in almost every kitchen, used for wrapping food, baking and grilling. While it seems harmless, it could actually be doing more harm than good, especially when used in high-heat cooking. When aluminum foil is exposed to heat, it can leach small amounts of aluminum into your food. Though the body can handle small traces of aluminum, long-term exposure has been linked to health concerns, such as bone diseases, kidney issues, and even neurodegenerative conditions like Alzheimer's. Joan, who loves to bake, was using aluminum foil for almost every meal. She'd wrap her vegetables in it, bake fish, and even use it to cover her pans. But when her doctor suggested that aluminum exposure could be a contributing factor to some of her recent health concerns, she decided to make a change. After researching alternatives, Joan switched to parchment paper and reusable silicone baking mats, which were just as effective for her cooking and far healthier. Parchment paper in particular provides a non-stick, heat-resistant surface without the potential risks of aluminum. If you love to cook at high heat, using alternatives like parchment paper or silicone mats is a simple and effective way to avoid the potential risks. These alternatives also have the added benefit of being reusable, saving you money and reducing waste over time. When was the last time you checked your kitchen tools thoroughly for mold or rust? If you're like many, you might not even think twice about the condition of your pots, pans and utensils. However, mold and rust are more than just an eyesore. They can seriously impact your health. Mold in cookware, especially cast iron or damp utensils, can lead to respiratory issues, skin irritation, and even infections if the spores make their way into your food. Similarly, rust in pans or tools can cause metal particles to mix with food, which may lead to stomach issues or even serious infections over time. Joan, like many others, had a favourite old frying pan that had started to show signs of rust. She kept thinking she could clean it up, but one day she realised the rust was deeper than she thought. The thought of breathing in mould or eating food contaminated with rust finally pushed her to take action. Joan inspected all her cookware and discarded anything that showed signs of damage. She replaced her cast iron pans with newer, well-maintained ones and made sure to regularly dry any wet cookware to prevent future mould growth. It's a simple yet vital step. Regularly inspect your kitchen items. If you find anything with mould or rust, Don't hesitate to toss it. Your health is worth it. Consider investing in quality cookware that's rust-resistant and designed to last for years. Keep your kitchen clean and dry, and avoid storing damp items that could invite mold growth. This will help keep your cooking environment healthy and safe. Spices are the secret to adding flavor and aroma to your meals, but did you know that expired spices could actually pose a health risk? Over time, spices lose their potency and flavor, but they also become a breeding ground for bacteria and mold, especially if they're stored improperly. Expired spices can also affect the taste of your food, turning your carefully prepared dish into something less enjoyable. Joan used to keep her spices for years, convinced they were still good as long as they smelled fine. But after a conversation with her nutritionist, she learned that expired spices could become a source of contamination. The idea of using bacteria-ridden spices made Joan realize it was time for a change. She took a deep dive into her spice drawer, throwing out anything that was more than a year old. She replaced her outdated spices with fresh ones and even started labeling the dates to make sure they didn't get too old again. It's crucial to regularly check the expiration dates on your spices and discard anything that has been sitting around too long. Spices like cinnamon, garlic powder and paprika are often overlooked, but they can harbor bacteria and lose their flavor after a while. The good news is that many spices are inexpensive to replace, and fresh spices can make a huge difference in your cooking, adding vibrant flavors and aroma. Consider creating a habit of reviewing your spice jars every few months. When you buy new spices, rotate the older ones to the front so they're used first. Keeping your spices fresh not only helps with flavor, but also ensures that your meals are safe and enjoyable. Have you ever dealt with moldy cookware or realized your spices were past their prime? We'd love to hear your stories and tips in the comments below. It's easy to grab a plastic container labeled microwave safe, pop it in the microwave and go about your day. But did you know that even microwave-safe plastics can break down over time, especially with frequent use, and release harmful toxins like BPA and phthalates into your food? These chemicals can leach into your meals when the plastic is heated, which over time can contribute to health problems like hormone imbalances, increased cancer risk, and even developmental issues in younger people. Joan loved using her microwave-safe plastic containers to heat up leftovers quickly. But after hearing about the risks of plastic in the microwave, she started to rethink her routine. Joan decided to make a change by switching to microwave-safe glass and ceramic containers, which don't contain BPA or phthalates and are much safer when used for reheating food. Glass and ceramic containers are durable, easy to clean, and retain heat more evenly, making them a healthier choice overall. The best part? These containers are dishwasher and microwave safe, and they can even double as serving dishes, meaning less cleanup. Plus, they don't stain or absorb odors like plastic, making them a much more long-term, eco-friendly option. If you're concerned about the plastic containers in your kitchen, it's time to make the switch to glass or ceramic. It's an easy upgrade that could greatly reduce your exposure to harmful chemicals and help you stay healthier in the long run. We all want our kitchens to be spotless, and heavy-duty scrub brushes might seem like the best solution for cleaning up tough grime. But did you know that these brushes can actually harbour a lot of germs, especially if they're not cleaned properly? The bristles, designed to scrub away dirt and grease, can become clogged with food particles, soap scum and moisture. This creates the perfect environment for bacteria to thrive. Over time, this can lead to cross-contamination when you use the brush on different surfaces in your kitchen. Joan had a few heavy-duty scrub brushes that she used to clean everything from her countertops to her pots and pans. But she started to notice that even after rinsing them, they didn't seem as clean as they should be. After learning about the bacteria build-up, Joan decided to replace her old brushes with softer, eco-friendly scrubbers made of natural fibres. These new brushes were gentler on surfaces, easier to clean, and didn't trap germs like the heavy-duty ones. Opting for softer brushes or eco-friendly scrubbers not only keeps your kitchen cleaner, but also reduces the risk of scratching or damaging delicate surfaces like non-stick pans and countertops. These scrubbers are also much easier to maintain, and many of them are compostable, which is better for the environment. If you've been using heavy-duty scrub brushes for a while, it might be time to make the switch to a safer, more hygienic alternative. Your cutting board is an essential tool in the kitchen, but over time, those deep grooves from years of chopping and slicing can become a major health hazard. These grooves can trap food particles, bacteria and moisture, creating an environment where germs can flourish. For seniors whose immune systems may be more vulnerable, these bacteria could lead to foodborne illnesses or infections. It's especially concerning if the cutting board is used for raw meat or vegetables, as cross-contamination can easily occur if bacteria is transferred from one surface to another. Joan used to have a wooden cutting board that had deep grooves from years of use. She loved it because it felt sturdy, but over time she realized it was harder to clean thoroughly. After doing some research, Joan learned that cutting boards with deep grooves were more likely to harbor bacteria. To keep her kitchen safer, she replaced her old cutting board with a newer one made of bamboo, which is naturally antibacterial and has a smooth, easy-to-clean surface. If you've noticed your cutting board starting to show signs of deep grooves or wear and tear, it's time to invest in a new one. Look for cutting boards that are easy to clean, like those made from bamboo, polypropylene or glass. These materials are not only durable but also more hygienic because they don't trap food particles as easily. Also, consider replacing your cutting board when it becomes worn or too deeply grooved. It's a small investment that can make a huge difference in maintaining a clean, safe kitchen. Have you ever noticed issues with your kitchen tools, like worn-out cutting boards or plastic containers? Let us know in the comments. We often think of our first aid kit as something we only need in an emergency. But did you know that an outdated or incomplete first aid kit in the kitchen could actually make a minor accident worse? Kitchens are full of potential hazards: sharp knives, hot surfaces and heavy pots. If an injury happens, you want to be able to handle it quickly and effectively. However, many people forget to check the expiration dates of items like bandages, antiseptic and medications in their kits. Joan had an old first aid kit tucked away in her kitchen cupboard. It had been there for years, and she never thought twice about it until one day she cut herself while chopping vegetables. When she went to grab supplies from her kit, she realized that many items were either expired or missing altogether. That's when she understood how important it was to regularly check and refresh her first aid supplies. Make it a habit to check your first aid kit every 6 months. Ensure that items like bandages, gauze, antiseptic wipes and pain relievers are up to date and ready to use. If you have used something recently, replace it immediately. Additionally, keep the kit organized so you can quickly find what you need in case of an emergency. A well-stocked and up-to-date first aid kit can make all the difference when accidents happen in the kitchen. It's easy to overlook the cleaning products we use in the kitchen, but some of these harsh chemicals can be a serious health hazard. Many common cleaning products contain volatile chemicals that can irritate the skin, eyes and lungs, especially when used frequently in small, poorly ventilated areas. For seniors, prolonged exposure to these chemicals can increase the risk of respiratory issues, skin irritation and even more severe health problems. Joan had always used strong, chemical-laden cleaners in her kitchen to get rid of grease, grime and bacteria. However, after experiencing respiratory discomfort and noticing a reaction on her skin, she realized that the harsh chemicals were doing more harm than good. She decided to switch to eco-friendly, non-toxic cleaning products, and the change was immediate. Not only did her skin and breathing improve, but her kitchen felt fresher, and she was no longer worried about the long-term effects of chemical exposure. The best alternatives are cleaners made from natural ingredients like vinegar, baking soda, and essential oils. These are effective at cutting grease, removing odors, and disinfecting surfaces without the harmful effects of traditional chemical cleaners. Look for brands that advertise non-toxic, eco-friendly ingredients, or even make your own DIY cleaners using household items. Switching to safer cleaning products in the kitchen isn't just better for your health, it's also better for the environment. For many, a gravy or fat separator is a kitchen essential, especially when making sauces or gravies. However, if you've been using plastic fat separators, they might be exposing you to harmful chemicals. Many plastic products, especially older ones, contain BPA or bisphenol A, a chemical linked to a variety of health risks, including hormone imbalances and increased risk of certain cancers. Joan used a plastic fat separator for years without thinking twice. But after learning about the dangers of BPA, she decided to switch to a stainless steel version. Stainless steel fat separators are not only safer but also more durable. They don't leach chemicals into your food, and they can withstand high temperatures, making them a great addition to any kitchen. If you're still using plastic fat separators, it's time to make the switch to a safer, long-lasting option. Stainless steel fat separators are available in many stores and are just as easy to use as their plastic counterparts. Plus, they're dishwasher safe and won't retain odors or stains from food, making cleanup a breeze. This simple switch will ensure that your cooking is safer and your food is free from unwanted chemicals. Have you ever experienced health issues from cleaning products or noticed BPA in your kitchen tools? Let us know in the comments below. Tea is a beloved daily ritual for many, but if you're using an old tea kettle with rust, it could be affecting more than just the flavor of your tea. Rust forms when metal is exposed to moisture over time, and if your kettle has developed rust spots, it could leach into your water or tea. The risks of consuming rusted water may seem small, but prolonged exposure to rust particles can lead to digestive issues, and more severely it may introduce harmful bacteria to your drinks, affecting your health. Joan loved her old tea kettle, which had been passed down through generations, but over time it started to show signs of rust. One morning, after reading an article about the potential dangers of rusted cookware, she realized it was time for a change. Joan replaced her rusted kettle with a high-quality stainless steel model, which not only looked sleek, but also ensured that her tea was free from any contaminants. If you've noticed rust on your tea kettle, it's time to invest in a new one. Opt for stainless steel or ceramic kettles, both of which are more durable and free from the risks associated with rust. Stainless steel kettles are also great at maintaining temperature, keeping your tea warm longer. Ceramic kettles are stylish, non-reactive and free from metals, which makes them a safer alternative for your daily tea brewing. Blenders are essential for preparing smoothies, soups and other kitchen creations, but like all appliances, they can wear out over time. Worn-out blender blades not only create uneven blends, but also pose a safety risk. Dull blades may struggle to blend tougher ingredients, putting extra strain on the motor, and in some cases can even cause the motor to burn out. This could lead to a malfunctioning blender that isn't just inefficient, it could also be dangerous to use. Joan had been using her blender for years, but recently she noticed it wasn't blending as smoothly as it used to. When she checked the blades, she found they were noticeably dull and chipped. After some hesitation, Joan decided to replace the blades, and the difference was immediately noticeable. The blender worked like new, blending everything from leafy greens to ice without a problem. Replacing the blades extended the life of her blender, saving her money and ensuring she could still create her favorite smoothies safely. If your blender is showing signs of wear, it might be time to check the condition of the blades. Many blenders have replaceable blades, which makes it easy to fix the problem without buying an entirely new appliance. If your blender is old and the blades are beyond repair, consider replacing the whole unit for the safest and most effective results. A well-maintained blender can help you prepare meals and snacks more efficiently and safely. Plastic utensils are a common sight in many kitchens, but did you know they can pose a risk to your health? When plastic utensils are exposed to high heat, like when cooking in a hot pan or stirring a pot of soup, they can melt, warp, or even release harmful chemicals such as BPA and phthalates into your food. These chemicals can disrupt hormone levels and contribute to long-term health issues, including fertility problems and an increased risk of cancer. Joan had used plastic spatulas, spoons and tongs for years, thinking they were safe because they were marketed as heat-resistant. But one day, after noticing the plastic on one of her spoons had started to melt around the edges, Joan decided to make a change. She replaced her plastic utensils with eco-friendly bamboo, stainless steel and silicone alternatives. These materials are not only safer, but they are also more durable and can withstand higher temperatures without releasing harmful chemicals. If you're still using plastic utensils in your kitchen, it's time to switch to safer alternatives. Bamboo utensils are naturally heat-resistant and biodegradable. Stainless steel utensils are durable, easy to clean, and can handle high temperatures without issue. Silicone is another great choice because it's heat-resistant, flexible, and doesn't absorb odors. By making the switch, you'll not only protect your health but also contribute to a more sustainable, eco-friendly kitchen. After Joan replaced the outdated and unsafe items in her kitchen, something incredible happened. She started to feel better. Her energy levels shot up, and those unexplained headaches and digestive issues she'd been dealing with for months disappeared. It wasn't just about switching cookware or utensils, it was about making her health a priority. By eliminating hidden dangers in her kitchen, Joan created a space that nurtured her well-being. Joan's story is a reminder that it's never too late to make small changes that lead to big improvements. Each little step she took transformed her kitchen into a safer, healthier environment, and in turn, she started to feel like herself again. These changes weren't drastic or expensive, they were simple, everyday decisions that added up over time. Has anything in your kitchen ever caused you health issues? Share your experience in the comments below. We'd love to hear your story. If you found this video helpful, hit that like button and share it with someone who needs to hear this today. Let's keep our kitchens safe and healthy. And don't forget to subscribe for more life-changing tips to help you live your best life.